Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and go beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee, co-host Raina. We've got snack of the day here. It's Blue Wilderness chicken, little chicken snacks. Come on, Raina. Sit. Good girl. And today we are ready to talk about our February reading plans. Now, remember, February is a short month, so we don't have too many books on the TBR list. Hopefully, those that I am planning on reading will be good ones because January was just an extraordinary month. So it'll be a challenge to make February to be just as interesting, but we'll see what we can do. So I've already started my first book for February, and that is Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. And this is her first novel. It came out in 2022. It is about a Jamaican family where the mom passes away. Now, the dad has already passed. And she leaves for her children several hours of taped messages, which she recorded during her final days, in which she insists on them listening to together and in the presence of their family lawyer. Now, there are two adult children here. Their names are Benedina, and she goes by Benny, and her brother Byron. So they're Benny and Byron, or B&B, as the mom would refer to them sometimes when they were kids. Now, Benny has had difficulty with basically all of her family relationships for some time, including with her dad. She never did go to his funeral when he passed, as well as the brother now that she needs to spend some time in the same room with and try to figure out what it is their mom is trying to convey to them. These are some family secrets or just family stories that have never come out that she is now going to tell them. Benny also never spent time with her mom before she died. Once she left the home, she kind of lost contact with all of her family. So there's been lots of turmoil. And the mom leaves behind not only this tape recorded message, but she also tells them that there is this black cake in the freezer, and she wants them to eat it together. And she tells them that they will know when the time is right. So I did not know what black cake was. I looked it up and I read some info on the internet about it, as well as what I read, in the book about it. Of course, it does explain it a little bit. It's a type of cake that is made in the Caribbean. And it's from dried fruit that is soaked in a sweet red wine for at least a few days, sometimes even a few weeks. And it also contains burnt sugar and rum. So it makes the cake a very, very dark brown color, almost a black. And from what I saw, it's generally served, it looks like, without any frosting or whipped cream. So the color is, very dark on it. It's served for special occasions and sometimes at funerals as well. So I've started this pretty good so far. Looks like I'm about maybe a quarter of the way through, maybe a little more. Also this month, I have a buddy read coming up with Brian of Adventures in Literature, and we are going to read The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. This is a story that takes place in the South in the 1960s. It has some themes of racism. It talks about the power of the female community and also the importance of storytelling. Now, I remember watching this movie quite a long time ago. I don't remember much about it specifically. I do remember that I enjoyed it. The book was published in 2002, so I think the movie was probably sometime around the same time frame, so it has been 20 years or so ago. Come on, Raina. Back up, baby. Good girl. Sit. Sit, girl. Sit down. I don't think she likes these because they're too little. So now I do want to point out a couple of things about this edition of the book that I own. First, there is an introduction, and it's in the back of the book, which is really interesting because we were just talking about introductions during one of my tag videos, and some people had commented that they never read them because they're always concerned that they're going to have some spoilers in them. Well, I guess, one way of doing it to eliminate the fear is to put the introduction at the end of the book. So you read it after you're done with the story, so it can't spoil it. And then next, there are several questions for discussion here in this book as well. So that's always nice when I plan on doing a full review of a book because it can be, a really great guide to use to kind of structure the review along. So now, as a bonus, also, we were also talking about inscriptions in books and odd things that you find in a book that are just kind of unexpected. And this book has a little inscription in the back or a little saying in the back. I don't know if you can read that, but it says, "The hardest thing on earth is choosing what matters." Now, I tried to look that up to see if that was a famous saying from somewhere, and I couldn't really find anything about it. I don't know if maybe that's just the way the previous owner of the book was feeling that day, maybe having some difficulty making choices. But anyway, I thought it was kind of an interesting find in a book. So next, I plan to read this book, Chocolat. It is by Joanne Harris. I have never read this book. I do love the movie, though. I thought it would be a nice February read. So let's see what I think. This was published in 2000, and I'm relatively sure the movie came out shortly after that. I remember it was in the very, very early 2000s that I first watched it. I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times since. And now, if you're not familiar with this, it is about a single woman and her young daughter. They moved to a rural French town in the winter of 1959. And they open this, very kind of unusual chocolate shop. It's unusual for the town because the town is very traditionally Catholic. And not only that, but she arrives on Ash Wednesday. So Lent is just kind of getting underway, and chocolate is kind of taboo during Lent. So, it's kind of a battle against this traditional thing and, the pull of something that is more sensuous and indulgent and things like that. So, the chocolate kind of holds its own spiritual power in a way. And the townspeople, are having an internal moral crisis because they want chocolate. And this woman is very charming and very kind. And again, just very indulgent with them. So slowly they kind of start to fall under her spell. And it does have some humor in it. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of humor, but it's also a very romantic story. And I just think that it has a lot of charm. So we'll see what I think of the book when I'm done. Now, the last book on my February TBR that I'm going to talk about today is All the Sinners Bleed. This is by S.A. Cosby. This came out in 2023. And it's about a small town in Virginia that gets its first black sheriff. Now he soon gets a full plate with some of the officers from his department apparently shooting a young person who was a suspect in a murder. And of course, wait for it, there's also a serial killer on the loose. Apparently, the serial killer has some ties to a church in the town, and so there's a lot of issues going on, some of which are very personal, apparently, to this sheriff. So, yeah, I've been wanting to read this, and I can't wait. I've had this book for a couple of months, so yeah, I'll be interested and anxious to get to it. Now, I'll also have my book of the month for February. I just ordered that. I think it was yesterday, so it should arrive soon. I know it's already on its way. I'll squeeze it in between these somewhere, and we'll take it from there. So that's my plans for February. What have you got to say? Anybody else reading any of these? Anything like any of these? What do you think? Comment below. And please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.